With the new update yesterday, obviously many fans and many pros alike have been talking about some of the meta changes, some of the updates and the ring zone changes as well, and many other things that we need to cover in this one, and even a mode that could one day potentially, according to a lot of fans, they want to see come into the ALGS scene. Interested to see your thoughts on this, but let's dive in and discuss what's going on. Firstly, Design had pointed out the obvious. I think everybody wants to see how is the Bloodhound change, how is the Bangalore change going to affect comp, because these are our 90% plus pick rate legends right now. Everybody should be picking them, or at least from the last patch. Are they still going to continue in that behavior? Well, the answer seems to be possibly not, or at least Bloodhound for this sake, but many people think that Bangalore might go a different route. Instead of getting hard nerfed and Bangalore's done, she's not good anymore, maybe it's more like, hey, Bang is just different. Maybe Bang still has a place, it's just not going to be played the same way we've always played it. And so Design basically said, you have aim assist in smokes. He was baiting all these people. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, here we go. This is the end. But you know, the truth is that's not the case at all. We have seen what this highlight looks like. We had seen some of these conversations specifically covered by Sweet on a live stream as well to talk about this new Bang change and how he thinks it will be slightly different. And honestly, I think he makes a fair point. We'll see obviously how this stuff holds up in the next coming days with scrims, and then obviously you're looking at some more Pro League days upcoming and regional finals upcoming in a week or so. So here's what Sweet had to say regarding the new Bang change and how he thinks and perceives that it actually might have an update on the Pro League. Run the clip.
Is there ever a time when you can see the scan of the other player but they can't see you? Like you could just like see a fucking dude, you can like tap strafe on Bang and just get information. Oh my god. I'm about to just super glide through the edge of a smoke and call out a full fucking team. I'm not gonna lie, that's like a buff for Bangalore, no? The way that I'm seeing like smart Bangalores using that is like, now that no one's gonna be able to Bloodhound ult you, like you can have teams stuck in spots and you can literally like smoke the edge and then just like, you know what I mean? Like right when you think about it, just like swing in and just like do damage and jump out. Yeah, it's like straight like permanent like it's like permanent scan, Ron. I don't know if I'm a fan of that. I'm not gonna lie, because I know how hard I'm gonna be able to abuse people with that. Like I'm gonna be able to completely abuse people with that so hard in smokes.
Now, that wasn't the only issue addressed. One of the big ones obviously pointed out by Raven was the fact that the zones were having so many issues, and there was even apparently a bug that was mentioned by Snipedown, I think, where zones weren't ending in certain spots and they were kind of getting predictable, but all the zones were ending on like the north side of the map, and everybody's like, what's going on? Like, this seems very like favoritism, some sort of favoritism going on here, or either like a bug in the game. So what is it? So they did come out with some sort of fix for this and said the end rings will now have much more distribution throughout the map. Each quadrant of the map will now have roughly 25% of a chance of getting selected. So this should make things a little bit more random and not have necessarily all this favoritism towards the north of the map, the northwest, northeast. Oh my gosh, TSM got lucky, blah, 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 all that stuff. So, you know, theoretically, hopefully this will balance things out quite a bit. And maybe honestly, you'll see some different Pro League results because of the fact. However, this was not like the big one. I think a lot of people were having an issue with the fact that you were having problems with bugs, apparently, where you actually heard Sweet say that all of these were hard-coded out of the game and that the zones could not even land in specific spots according to these bugs, and it mostly had to do with lava. So everybody knew, don't go to the south side of the map because the north side has a lot less lava, and apparently the game has a problem with lava right now, and the game will not end any of its zones on the lava. So here was a breakdown of what Sweet's reaction was of this and kind of like how this bug had been affecting people, when it was affecting people, and obviously now that it's addressed, how good of news this is. Roll the clip.
And the game had like an exaggerated area where the zone was impossible to end. So everything that you saw on red was completely hard-coded, removed from the game for zones. So that's what the map looked like for the most recent couple weeks of ALGS prior to this bug being in the game. But now that that's patched, that's definitely for the better. And I'm interested in this quadrant thing, how that's going to affect zones. Hopefully it makes it seem a little bit more fair. Or more importantly, it's going to reduce the chances of you just getting like completely fucked.
Now, of course, that's not the only change we got with this. It's not just in zones. It's not just legend meta updates, but also the quads mode is not only in the game, but it's also in private match. And it brought up a big conversation many people in the comments like, hey, I think quads may be something we need to look into for ALGS. Of course, this is a long shot. Trios has been around for so long. How do you start to look at quads now? Now, it will have some implications. Number one, it's 15 teams of 4, so you do have a lot more of POIs to choose from that are probably better quality. This could also make rotates better. Obviously, more POIs will be available to rotate into. Also, you might not have as much third parties going on. I heard the snort, not sure where that came from, but maybe third parties would be better, but fights should be longer because it's 8 people instead of 6 people now. How much will this shake up roster mania? We do have an IGL shortage right now. This could possibly fix that because overall there would be less teams considering there's more players on each team. So a lot of implications there. I do actually think on paper it makes sense. That's the phrase I get framed for at this point. But I do think that there are some good ideas presented here as for why quads mode could be a good addition for ALGS and what roster mania is, what it entail. Obviously it would be one that I'd be around for, but a big roster conversation that we need to make mention finally coming to a close. Imperial Hal had his last day, I think, with all these guys together. Of course, they had still been living in the house. Reps, Verholst and Imperial Hal were together for quite some time. But at the end of the day, when the roster change happened, they did make decisions to go about their own ways, I guess, in their personal lives as well. So they're moving away and going on to new adventures as well. So crazy era that it was. And I'm looking forward to see how all of this stuff unfolds at LAN. I'm glad that TSM is still a good team overall and it wasn't just banking on Hal being there. But also wanted to make mention some updates going on into the Esports World Cup. This is the big one, obviously, because this is going to be a multi-million-dollar tournament. However, it's going to be played in a little bit of a different fashion than what we're normally seeing with the ALGS. So let's explain some of the updates that happened. Minus Tempo had put out on a dry news day of Apex Legends. I'm here to inform you the viewer selection maps will be Kings Canyon, Broken Moon, Olympus, and so that you can choose from the group stages and elimination stage of the EWC LAN event. Scrims will be played accordingly. Now, I feel like for whatever reason, it came across as almost like being presented like, not necessarily in a specific post, but just in general, when I saw the news coming out that day, it was like, oh, here's the maps, right? Here's the fan voted maps, like this picture that Esports World Cup put out. Not sure why they put it out like this, because it kind of made it come across like, here's the maps we're going to be playing. No, there's still going to be Storm Point. There's still going to be World's Edge. For the most part, it should be kind of ish normal, right? But the idea is that there's going to be a small section in here where there will be viewer selection maps. Of those viewer selection maps, you're going to get the maps that are not comp related, right? So you'll have OG comp map, Kings Canyon. You'll have the comp debut for Broken Moon. You have the Olympus map here for the Scrim Warriors, and obviously the Scrim trial stuff that we had. So of these slightly niche situations, the last 2 games of each group stage and elimination stage, not in the finals though, these are the fan voted maps that it would draw from. So it's nothing to really freak out over. I actually kind of like the idea of like, what if in the ALGS we had the winners bracket playing the normal map, Storm Point, World's Edge, but the losers bracket could play Kings Canyon and Broken Moon and Olympus or whatever the case may be. Maybe alternate those maps throughout the year as well. I think it's a pretty cool idea. It's definitely something unique that we haven't seen in a while, but obviously, time will tell, and we'll see which teams can capitalize on this new change as well. Also wanted to make mention, speaking of the ALGS, we do have some of the relegated teams that are not going to be going back into Pro League, are going to have to earn their way back into for APAC North and APAC South now that those regions are over and we're looking towards regional finals. So firstly, for APAC North, Crazy Raccoon, obviously one of the biggest upsets. We thought this team, obviously being a big name, was going to do a little bit better than this, but sadly was not, and they're 23rd position, so they will be relegated from the pro scene. They're going to have to find their way back in. At Rise Max, also the case. Chesatinka also in the case. Maybe Quesotinka, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Love and Peace in 26th. Area 310 also in the same scenario. Meteor in 28th. Tetochi Sparks in 29th, and Lucky 7 also. Now when it comes to the APAC South region, of course, we already talked about Virtus Pro. This was an unfortunate one for them. No credit outside True, Barbecue, Akuma, MXF, and Fruit Salad as well. Then going into the CC finals that just took place 2 days ago, you had 5-star Pure, Purple Slushy, Brown, ICBM in the top 5. No big surprise here. A lot of people kind of, I actually thought this was interesting that saying while working like 65 hours a week, crazy overtime, only playing like 1 scrim set, this dude just comes out, gets 2nd place inside of CC finals. Like, because it kind of goes to show you, hey, look, you can do this even if you got a full-time job. You can do this even if you think you're too busy. This possibility is out there for you. Interested to see what you guys have to say about all the updates that are going on, everything that people are talking about with the legend meta, the end zone changes, quads mode. Would that be something you'd be interested for ALGS? What do you think about the fan voted maps going in for Esports World Cup? And also let me know your thoughts down below about some of the teams in North America and the EMEA scene that you're worried about possibly being relegated from the Pro League. Like the video and subscribe if you want to stay up to date with all things inside the world of Apex Legends esports news. And until the next time, we'll see you all later, Gators.